Hey, everybody, and welcome to the show. We have part 5 of our 7 Resorts in 7 Days series. Today we're talking about Disney's Yacht Club, coming up next. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode 782 for February 20th, 2015. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. Let the experts at Dreams Unlimited help you understand all your options when booking one of Disney's all-inclusive vacation packages. Just visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, I'm your host, Pete Werner. Joined at the table this week by my good friends Craig Williams, Jenny Lynn Knopp, Kathy Whirling, Corey Martin, and back in the production nook, our producer Dustin West, and on Skype, our good friend Will Perry out in Indianapolis. So we are in part 5 of our whirlwind tour of 7 different Disney resorts, and coming up to the Yacht Club. And it's it's very interesting. The Yacht Club was, when we did a poll a few months ago to name like the top Disney resort. We've been narrowing it down for a few months, and the Yacht Club came in dead last. It is not a popular resort right now, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure why. We had a pretty good experience.
Yeah, if the Beach Club ranked higher, I would think they'd be fairly close to each other.
No, there was a significant difference between the Beach Club and the Yacht Club. But let's give you a few details about the resort. It opened on November 5th, 1990, and along with its sister resort, the Beach Club, and the Boardwalk, which I was not aware of this, all designed by the famous architect Robert A.M. Stern. There are 621 guest rooms, sleeping anywhere from 2 to 5 people, depending on the room type, and it is located right there along Crescent Lake, right next to the Beach Club, across from the Boardwalk, and of course the Walt Disney World Swan and Dolphin. But before we get into our impressions of this resort, we have a little overview video to show you that we put together of the Yacht Club. So here's that video. Okay, so like I said, the Yacht Club is not getting a lot of love. And prior to this stay, I kind of understood that because I'd been over there, I forgot when it was last year, but stayed up in concierge at the Yacht Club, and I was just incredibly disappointed. I was disappointed with the service. The room wasn't what I considered up to standard. It just was a negative experience. And when I kind of put that out there on Facebook, on my Facebook page, had a lot of people giving me feedback saying, yeah, we had the same experience. And then when we did the poll last year, I was very surprised how poorly the Yacht Club did. So I kind of went into this thinking that this might be not a good experience. But it was just the opposite. Now, we did not stay concierge here. We just had a standard room that was located, I think it was about just on the border of New Jersey.
It was way out there.
1.7 miles exactly from the lobby.
No, it wasn't.
Yes.
Stop it. It was at the very back end of the resort. I mean, it was a walk to get there. With that said, I got to tell you, the room was in excellent condition.
Yeah. It was.
Some of the things that I look for that help me determine, really and truly what kind of shape a room is in. The first place I go is, sorry, just had a thought and that escaped me. The first place I go is the carpet. I look at the edges, in particular, of the carpet. Old carpet is frayed at the edges. It's also, because it's old, a lot of dirt has built up. So you can kind of see a discoloration on the edges of the carpet. And that will give you, one thing that happens with every room rehab, regardless, carpet comes up and new carpet goes in. So that's one way that you can tell when the last time that room had been rehabbed. Also, obviously, you're looking for wear and tear on the furniture. These resorts see a lot of people, a lot of kids, and that the furniture can get scuffed up. The more markings that you find on the edge of the bed, on the edges, especially on the edges of the furniture, kind of give you an idea. I was very surprised, very, very surprised that this room was practically new.
When I was over there, after we stayed there, I went over to take some pictures, and out by the quiet pool, that end of the building, they were carrying mattresses and furniture out. So it looks like they're very quietly rehabbing some of the rooms, because that's not on the list for rehab.
No, I was just going to say that, I think it was, trying to remember, it was rehabbed a few years back. It's been a little while. But they just might be doing a refresh.
Yeah.
Regardless, I can tell you the room that we had was in very, very good shape. One of the other things that I look for in rooms is running your fingers across the top of mirrors, pictures, things like that. See how much dust is there. That'll give you an idea of how good housekeeping is. Just so we send these people into hotel rooms now to go looking at the carpet and checking for dust. And it was extremely clean. It was very, very clean. I wasn't pulling any dust up anywhere.
I agree. When I walked into the room, you get a sense of the room was just very inviting, very clean, very comfortable.
And I also want to mention the check-in process, much like the Grand Floridian. And this was the only one of the resorts that did this, other than the Grand, unless we were staying in concierge. And even then, it didn't happen. But there are people out there, out in front, asking if you're checking in. If you are, you give them your name. They greet you. They walk you inside. They take you up to the front desk, and they wait with you until someone's available. And we got a great cast member at check-in, very friendly, very informative. For me, what marks a good cast member is, at check-in in particular, is they kind of take a read of the guest. Is this somebody who knows what they're doing and just wants to check in and go to their room? They know all about the theme parks. They know all about the schedules. They know where everything is. They know the buses. They know that stuff. Or is this somebody just kind of coming in fresh? And so you have those cast members that will check you in, And have you stayed at Disney before? Oh yes, many times. But yet they will still give you the whole rundown of everything, which I appreciate the information. But at that point, you're just wasting your time and mine. So the guy that was checking us in, I wish I could remember his name. The guy that was checking us in was so friendly and knowledgeable and knew that we obviously knew what we were doing. And so instead of wasting our time with, lots of inane information, was making great conversation while he was sorting out our magic bands, because that's always a challenge with me because I have so many of them. And that's something else I want to make a note of to folks. If you go to the resorts a lot and you have a lot of magic bands on your account, things start to get dicey. And then they go and they start deactivating old magic bands, but they will deactivate the wrong ones. Mm-hmm. And so I've got a lot of my magic bands right now that I've got to go back in and kind of sort through, because they deactivated all my, my specialty magic bands and things like that. So it's something to be mindful of.
I'll have to remember that.
Because I kept forgetting to bring. I have all these magic bands. I kept forgetting to bring them.
So you had to keep adding new ones.
And so they kept adding new ones, but there was like a limit. There was like a limit of 32, I think, that you could have.
Okay, I'm not to 32.
I've been using extra magic bands to like tie cords behind my computer now. Yeah,
that's not a bad idea, actually. Except, when we get to Old Key West, all the other resorts were saying there's a limit of 32. Old Key West is saying, oh, no, there's no limit. We couldn't have a limit with our guests. The way our guests travel, we could never have a limit. That would be a nightmare for us. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. I'm getting, at one place told me 16, one place told me 32, one place told me there was none. So, again, it's kind of like these are all owned by different companies and they have nothing to do with each other. But I will say the check-in process from start to finish, back to the room, was outstanding. The cast was outstanding. The room was in great shape. Will, you actually stayed in the room. Thoughts?
Yeah, this was my first time to the Yacht Club. One of the better rooms, probably the cleanest room that I stayed in at all 7 nights. I really liked the little nautical touches. My parents live on a lake. I feel like they would really enjoy this room because of those little details.
They're beautiful rooms.
Yeah, it was great. So, and, a lot of similarities between the Yacht and the Beach Club, but I really felt that there was a big difference when I stayed there. I enjoyed the Yacht Club a lot more than I did the Beach Club. So they might look a lot alike, but they're quite different.
But I gotta say, you also didn't see or stay in the standard room at the Beach Club. When I do a side-by-side comparison of what the Beach Club rooms, the standard rooms, versus this one, the Beach Club in my opinion, blows this one out of the water.
Well, because the Beach Club has been completely reworked. I mean, those are brand new rooms. Yacht Club hasn't gone through the gutting.
And you can tell. I can tell.
But that being said, I think the most important thing really is that it's clean. Now, for people who don't know, I want to explain some of the differences between the Yacht and the Beach Club. The Yacht Club, or the Beach Club, is themed around like the Newport Beach, New England, turn of the century. Lots of light woods, a lot of bleach wood, light colors. It's the stick design that was popular in the early 1900s. Yeah. So it's a much more casual atmosphere, whereas the Yacht Club is a much more nautical theming. It's
also more sophisticated.
It's a more elegant and sophisticated place, and where its design is more like the. I
mean, the Yacht Club always reminds me, for the first time this past year, we got to go to Disney in Plymouth. And I noticed a lot of the same type of aesthetics, that dark wood, dark blues, with then the contrasting whites. And to me, that's very appealing. Yacht Club is a great resort for me, whereas Beach Club, I don't like that beach setting. If I was given a choice of where to go vacation, I would choose someplace like Boston over going to the beach or something like that. That's how I feel. And Yacht Club has all those old touches. It's got that elegance to it that places like Grand Floridian also have, but I don't feel uncomfortable in Yacht Club, whereas I can feel uncomfortable in Grand Floridian.
Well, see, I was going to say the Yacht Club, to a lesser degree, I feel intimidated there.
Really? I don't at all.
I just feel like it's a stiffer, you must behave better at the yacht club.
It does have that New England patrician feeling to
Yeah.
it. And I'll give you that, but not. I have never felt uncomfortable. I've never felt that same discomfort. We were talking about that with the Grand. I've never felt that at the yacht club.
I mean, I prefer the beach club, but honestly, the yacht club doesn't do it to me the same way that the Grand Floridian does. Like he's saying, it doesn't feel overly stuffy. I just don't think that it appeals to necessarily to my aesthetic choices. I prefer
Actually,
the beach club.
I always preferred the yacht club over the beach club. It wasn't until that experience I had last year where, the concierge, and I don't know about now or if I was just having a bad spell, but I will tell you that was the most disengaged, disinterested concierge team I'd ever experienced.
Yeah.
Like, this is just bad. They didn't want to do anything. They didn't want to do anything for you. And their attitude was just, yeah, we're here, whatever. And so that really, and the room that we were in was not up to speed. It just was not in good shape. So that kind of turned me off. So I go to the beach club, the first day that we do this, go to the beach club, see those brand new rooms, and I see how the concierge there was, and you know what? I choose service over aesthetic. None of these resorts are ugly.
Right.
None of these resorts are ugly, but I do choose at the end of the day, good service, a really positive service experience makes me a lot more interested in going back. And I think that's where my interest in the beach club came in, because the experience I had in the yacht club versus what I had in the beach club. However, after this stay, I'm starting, I'm saying, okay, well, wait a second. Check-in was amazing. All the cast that I interacted with was fantastic. The room was beautiful. The room was in great shape. No, it's not a new room, but they're keeping it up. There was no wear at all on that carpet. The room was immaculate. It's really well appointed. It's very comfortable, elegant, without being stuffy. And those beds were very comfortable. At least what I experienced of them, they were very comfortable. I don't know. Will actually slept on it, but...
Yeah, it was great. Very comfortable. I like the balcony too. The location, the room was way away from the lobby. But
We had a little patio, yeah.
The little balcony area was nice. There was a little pond out there. Not that I really hung out there, but I smoked cigarettes, so I would go out there and smoke, and it was close to the boardwalk. I walked around at night. It was nice.
Now, the other thing I look for in these hotels that I think I should mention, I always pay attention to when I'm walking through the hallways or I'm walking past a cast member, do they say hello? And does not happen at all the resorts.
No.
But I will say at Beach Club and Yacht Club, without fail, anytime a cast member passed us.
Well, when you walk into the yacht club, they have the person stationed
They have
there.
the
They're
greeter.
called I think they're called the Admiral.
He's
Is that
that
right?
old man that is just
It used to be
dressing up and
Art.
showing
It
up
used to
every
be
day.
Art.
It used to be
Now
Art, who was like famous.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right, but now they'll have. I've seen males and females,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
whoever it is has always been exceptionally friendly and just
Right,
you're
well, you
immediately
expect
greeted.
that's their full-time job is to be a greeter, as opposed to housekeeping. When you pass by housekeeping, are they going to acknowledge you and say good morning, good afternoon? And they were just so
Well-
pleasant. They were so pleasant.
I would even say, with talking about the greeter and the lobby in general, that's what sets the yacht club apart from other resorts for me. And with any resort I ever go to, I look at the lobby, because that is the place where I end up spending the most amount of time. If I'm in Wilderness Lodge, and this kind of travels down from how my family is, my dad would go read down there at the end of the night after a long day in the parks. So I kind of look at that now too. Yacht Club is so quiet. Then you go over to Beach Club, having Yacht Club, you have Captain's Grill right off the side, so that's never that busy. But Cape May Cafe, that's a different story over at the Beach Club. That's super busy. It makes the lobby a lot noisier. And Yacht Club, whenever I was a student, I would sit down there and do homework. It was that quiet. I could just relax, hear the background music. And as a person who likes to get away from sometimes these busier moments at Disney, Yacht Club is a perfect place to actually escape. And there are
I
very
have to-
few places.
I also
Yeah, I
like
agree
that
with
the
that.
lobby has like a little bar lounge off of the lobby.
Right.
You don't have to go to Martha's Graveyard. You can
Martha's
you're
Graveyard.
right there, and it's things are closer. Like as far as the lobby goes, everything's kind of
It's true. I
segmented
mean, with Yacht Club and Beach Club being the sister resorts, it's interesting to see just how many differences there are. Beach Club definitely has much more of a bustle about it. Yacht Club is a lot more quiet and reserved.
Well, I just lost my train of thought. I was going to say something, and I lost it.
That's okay.
Let's talk about some of the dining options that are available at the Yacht Club. You have Captain's Grill, which is a table service restaurant along with the Yachtsman Steakhouse, arguably one of the most popular restaurants on Disney property. You have the Ale & Compass Lounge, which is right next to the Yachtsman Steakhouse. It's the bar, and you can get some food items.
I think that's the Cruise Cup Lounge.
Ale & Compass is the lobby
Ale &
bar.
Compass is the lobby
Yeah.
bar. I'm sorry, the Crew Cup Lounge. You're absolutely right. Ale & Compass is in the lobby, and
Cruise Cup is by
Cruise
the
Cup is
Yachtsman
right next to the
Steakhouse.
Yachtsman. And then, of course, out at the pool, shared with the Beach Club, you have Hurricane Hannah's, which we already mentioned was not very good. Captain's Grill. 2 words. Don't go. Don't go. It's terrible. It used to be amazing. It used to be a hidden gem on Disney property. You never had to worry about being able to get in. The food was always good, not gourmet, but really good comfort food,
Yeah.
delicious, well prepared, fresh. Every experience I have had there in the last 6 years has been terrible. Culminated by the very last experience I had there, which is the last time I will ever eat there. When you had just started working for us, Dustin, and we were there with a couple of friends, and he had his dinner, and when he got to the bottom of the plate, there was a very long black hair
Ooh.
in the food. And they didn't come right out and say it, but they basically acted as though we were lying. Even though none of us at the table had long black hair. None of us. This was a really long piece of
jeez.
black hair on the bottom of this. And after that, I said, okay, this place has just fallen from grace. It's a terrible restaurant. They have a terrible chef. It's terribly managed. And it should be avoided at all costs.
It's also sad in there. I mean,
It is sad.
There's not really like good atmosphere in there. No music. It's in a way it kind of reminds me of the Liberty Inn or Liberty Tavern.
Liberty Tree Tavern.
Yeah. In a way, it kind of reminds me of that in its aesthetic, but it doesn't have the same atmosphere that it has in there, and it just is a little bit depressing.
Oh no, like I said, I've just, and again with these restaurants, even if I don't like them, if I have a bad experience, I go back, especially if it's been a while. I say, look, things change because a restaurant had a bad night 3 years ago, doesn't mean the restaurant's bad. When I do that and I consistently have a less than stellar experience, then I know, okay, this is really not a good restaurant. And I can tell you, from my opinion, Captain's Grill is just awful and should actively be avoided. I'm not kidding. It should actively be avoided. By contrast, you have the Yachtsman Steakhouse, which
Is amazing.
is amazing. Now, there have been a couple of failures at meals that we've had. And when I say failures, meat wasn't prepared to the right temperature or something like that. It happens in a steakhouse, even the best steakhouses. What matters is how are you treated when you call it out. And you say, hey, I ordered my steak medium. This is well done. And, at the Yachtsman, they'll start doing cartwheels around the restaurant to make you happy. And go out of their way. I mean, there was a corn chowder that they were serving this one time we were there that was just the best thing I'd ever tasted in my life. And I said I would like an order of this to go. He's like, well, it's actually, made as part of this one dish, so it's not like a side dish that you can order. It was part of another dish. And I said, can you please? The chef went out of his way to prepare a nice big batch of this for me.
Oh, that was nice.
And I was like seeing stuff like that.
They'll do the
Well-
same thing with steaks too. Like, because I know I forgot when we went, but I think the largest steak they had was 16 ounces. So I asked, could you? Because they cut them there.
No, their largest is a porterhouse.
Well, whichever one I was looking at, it might have been a ribeye, and I asked, can you cut one 8 ounces larger? And they did. So I had a nice, huge steak, and it was cut right for me. They just added the charge at the end, but it's great.
I like most of the time I have to be the one person to get in the negative aspect of it. Not the last time I was at Yachtsman. The last time I was there, I was with Pete and JL and Dustin and a big group. We had a great time. The time before that, it was for my birthday, and it was my sister, myself, and Kylie. And my sister is a seasonal cast member, and sometimes they get good discounts there, holiday coupons and stuff. We were treated so poorly because she came in there as a cast member
Really?
wanting to use a coupon. Just
Wow.
the server treated us like we were junk, and we had to have a manager come out just to make the whole situation better because of
Wow.
how bad the service was. That was the only time I've ever been there, but it has left a sour taste in my mouth
right.
Yeah.
for the entire. It was on my birthday, and I ate a huge steak. I had the biggest ribeye I think they offer on the menu. We had a $90 bottle of wine, and at the same time, because we wanted to use that cast member perk, one of very little that cast members get.
Yeah.
It was like, get out.
I'm sorry you had that experience. I think, but generally speaking,
The food's amazing, though.
Most people don't. Most people in there aren't cast members.
Yeah.
I can tell you that of the only issue I've ever had at Yachtsman has been the occasional, and it's never happened to me. It's always happened to somebody I'm eating with, and not all the time. It's not exactly a common occurrence where a steak is either undercooked or overcooked, and I'll tell you, service wise, I've never been anything other than amazing.
Yeah,
and
I'm
stellar.
surprised to hear that, Chris.
Yeah,
honestly.
I'm very shocked. But I've heard stories like that before, where cast members are not always treated well in the restaurants.
It's not that it's only happened at the Yachtsman. Cast members sometimes are not treated well, and it's kind of a catch-22 for me because I will also be very critical on some cast members for the jobs that they do, but then whenever they don't get treated well, it all evens out.
Yeah.
So,
But Yachtsman is one I can definitely recommend.
Yeah.
I also do like the Crew Cup Lounge. I think that is a great place to go and hang out. You can get some bar food. It's a nice atmosphere. I don't drink, but just
It's not very big, but it's hopefully you can get a spot to
Well,
sit.
it's definitely one of the bigger quote unquote lobby bars that you'll find on property, and it's way better than, like you said, what Beach Club has. What did you call it, Corey?
Martha's Graveyard.
That's just sad. That's just a
It is.
sad place.
So my recommendation is if you're in the Boardwalk Yacht and Beach Club area at all, and you want to go have drinks, and maybe the boardwalk is a little too lively for you, or you want to find a really nice place, go to Cruise Cup. It's really cool. I enjoy it.
I would actually equivalate Cruise Cup to
equivalate. Are we making up words now?
Yes, I always make up words. Don't you know me? I've been working for you for 3 years.
Don't you know nothing?
Cruise Cup is very much like
Hey, look, hold on a second. If you're going to use words like equivalate, you don't get to be indignant.
Listen, I'm a whole different breed of person. I cannot condone my actions sometimes. But
It's the facial hair.
Cruise Cup is very, very much like, and I apologize, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, the one right beside Artist Point. It is just
Territory Lounge.
Territory
Lounge.
Lounge. I get the same type of vibe whenever
Absolutely.
Cruise Cup is there.
Nice dark.
They are both great, sometimes dark places to hang out in, but
And
you can get a
cold.
nice before dinner drink, or you can have if you don't necessarily want to have dinner at the nice place right next door, you can still get a reasonable meal there.
See, for me, it's what I look for are the places where I can take my laptop, set up shop, and be comfortable, and being just like a nice vibe, nice atmosphere where I can get some work done. And Cruise Cup Lounge, that is absolutely that place for me.
I just
there.
want to throw a word of caution out there. They have this really great in Cruise Cup Lounge. You can order. It's like this variety of onions that you can kind of have as an appetizer, and they're amazing, but they are not for the gastrointestinally delicate. So do not attempt that unless you want to have an interesting evening for the rest of the night.
I have another word of caution that you can order from the Yachtsman Steakhouse wine list at the Cruise Cup.
And it's also cold in there. So for people such as myself who tend to be cold, this is really cold. I don't know if it's cold in there because I have to keep the meat cold, but sometimes it does feel like a meat locker.
Okay, we knew when Jenny Lynn had been in any of the rooms that we had because she is apparently part Borg and has to have it hot and humid.
My personal thermostat is broken.
And so we'd walk in and it would be like, oh my God, it's like a sweatbox in here. And she'd be like, in a corner somewhere with like 8 blankets on her, looking like Grandma Moses, and have the computer open, all her papers out. And
Yes, so if you're one of those people, please bring a jacket to the Cruise Cup Lounge or the Yachtsman State Club because
I think that
it gets
goes
cold in there.
At a lot of Disney places, I just automatically know to bring a sweater. It's going to be cold.
see, and I'm always warm. But that's because I've got 18 layers of lard, between me and my skeleton. So now the Allen Compass Lounge is the bar that is right off the lobby. This is also a popular place, very small, and it becomes unruly when there's a convention in the hotel. That lobby gets ugly, and that lobby bar gets, because the Cruise Cup Lounge is kind of set back. You have to kind of walk around Captain's Grill and around back to Yachtsman in order to get to that. So sometimes that doesn't get too bad. The lobby bar is going to get ugly first. Mm-hmm. And if there's a convention in the hotel, there is just nothing worse than a bunch of somewhat overweight, middle-aged white men who've had way, way, way too many martinis.
Still wearing lanyards.
And it's a small little lounge, so there's not many places for them to even fit in there. So often there's a lot of overflow into the lobby area.
itself.
But what's so weird is I've never seen the convention folks that you're describing, collared shirt and lanyards. I've never seen them in the Cruise Cup Lounge late at night. I always see them in that lobby
bar.
I guess they want to be seen.
They don't know. Well, they don't know that it's. I don't think they know the Cruise Cup is back there.
They walk over to Jelly Roll.
These aren't exactly. These aren't always Disney experts.
Yeah, true.
So speaking of, we've talked about the lobby. Now we're going to talk about some of the common areas. Obviously, the largest common area at this resort is shared with the Beach Club. That's the Stormalong Bay, the pool that we talked about on our Beach Club portion. Just an incredible pool, best pool on property, hands down, especially when it's not under rehab. But you do have to be a guest of either the yacht or the Beach Club in order to use it, and they are strict about those.
Usually when Disney comes up with a story for their theming, it's pretty good. This is probably the lamest one I've ever seen.
Man, you are just all about hating Stormalong Bay.
Well,
and this is usually like Mrs. I Love Everything Disney. She's the one that doesn't get bitter and jaded.
But anyway, there was a pirate, and his name was Stormalong. That's why they named it that way. He washed up on the shores. And I'm like, really? You couldn't have come up with a better story than the pirate's name was Stormalong?
I actually never knew that story before. And I'm so upset that I haven't.
That would account for the shipwrecked boat that the slide goes down the mast.
Mm-hmm.
That's awful.
Yes.
But it's also, that's like probably the coolest water slide at any resort anywhere.
It is.
The water slide is located literally across the walkway on the beach that you climb up, and that's the slide down into the pool. It's a really, really cool slide. I also got nailed in the back going down that slide years ago.
Oh.
And because my fatness got, I stopped in the middle.
Oh,
and they sent the next person down. It was a friend of mine.
Ooh.
And he just went feet first, right into the middle of my back.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was ticked off that, because one of the first things the lifeguard said after it happened is we've been asking them for a red light, green light system on this for a long time. They didn't then. I don't know if they do now. And
That's important.
I was a little peeved, but
What I do like about that slide area is, they have the big slide that you were just talking about, and that's a lot of fun, but it can also be a little bit intimidating for certain people. There's another section of the boat that has an area for younger kids that they can play in where there's a smaller slide, but you kind of have to look for it. It's not just obvious. So they have a younger, milder version of a slide, and then they have the big, really fun one.
now one of the other common areas we didn't talk about with the beach club, which we probably should have, is the beach. Right across the walkway from both the yacht and beach, there is a grotto beach there that you can lay out during the day. It is also just a great place to hang out at night.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite. I have some great memories of just when I had come up with the idea for Dreams Unlimited in January of 1999, and it was May of '99 when I was sitting with some friends, and we were sat out on that beach for about I think it must have been there for 4 or 5 hours, and I just kind of told them this is what my idea for Dreams Unlimited travel
neat.
is. And one of them ended up becoming my business partner, Donna Lefevre. We talk about that all the time. Remember
Yeah.
sitting on the... And it's also, you're not going to get a great view of the fireworks, but you can see some of the fireworks from illuminations from out on that beach. Again, it's not an ideal view, but it's really kind of cool.
You can also get a view if you're in the Yachtsman, because we had a table one time right by the window, and that was just awesome, eating our steak dinner with fireworks going off in the background.
Really? You can see that?
Yeah, there's
The Neil Patrick Harris table.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's one that he requests right in that nook that
Yeah.
if you're walking past from the outside, you walk on the walkway right around it. Him and David like to sit in that
Oh.
little window and
I think it
Seen
was
them there a
the
couple
whirling
times.
table first.
oh, okay.
I was going to say, it sounds like something out of either one
Yeah,
of
but
two
you're not
things.
hosting the Oscars, so
Okay.
he gets it named after him. When you host the Oscars, they'll name it after you.
Okay.
But I do love that beach. And, when you talk about cool places to relax that's quiet and there's never anybody out there at night, that is such, because they leave those, they have first of all, they have the swings, they have the
The bench seat
the
swing.
bench seat swings, and they still have, all the lounges are left out overnight, so you can just kind of hang out there. And
Yeah.
It's very picturesque to the point that it's not uncommon to see them setting up tents and tables with place settings because people are holding their wedding reception.
a lot of parties
Yep.
happen on
We
that.
saw a
on that
few
beach.
when we were there.
Yeah.
And it's even great looking out over at the boardwalk at night when
Yeah.
you see it all lit up. From the boardwalk, it's great walking around there at night, but being that far away and getting to see the grand picture around there, you can't beat views of that.
So let's discuss what there is for kids at this resort. Obviously, Stormalong Bay is a huge draw for kids, and one of the ways you can tell at Disney World how good the resort pool is, how many kids are in it in the middle of a day, when they have options to be in the best theme parks in the world, and they want to be in that pool. Stormalong is pretty much, if the weather's good, Stormalong's busy. Stormalong Bay is busy.
What I want to say about the yacht club is in terms of kids, there really isn't that much
I agree.
unless you are going to the beach club side of things. Beach club is where they have the kids activity center. Stormalong Bay is, I don't know, I usually associate it more with the beach club, but that's why you're going to get the bustle over at the beach club that you don't necessarily have at the yacht club. The truth is, as far as exclusively yacht club goes, there's not anything there very specific for children. You've got the boardwalk over along the way where you can rent Surrey bikes with your family and ride them around the boardwalk. But yacht club specific, there's not all that much. You're going to have to go to the beach club side of things in order to access that.
The beach club definitely does strike me as more friendly to families
Yes.
and kids.
It does.
Not that the yacht club is hostile.
No, there
Right.
certainly aren't. And you will see children at the yacht club.
Sure.
It's just as far as kid-specific experiences, it's really more over at the sister resort.
now that you mention it, there always seems to be a lot more kids in the lobby of the beach club than I ever see in the lobby of the yacht club.
Yes.
So for some people, that's a selling point.
Exactly.
You know,
I think that also comes back to Cape May Cafe having the character meals in there. I think that is a big to-do for children as well.
Yes.
There's also villas at the beach club too, so you have
More
larger
families.
families
The DVC
that can
villas, yeah.
accommodate.
Right. Whereas Yacht Club does not have any
Right.
villas.
But I think that's a selling point of the yacht is that you can still have all these amenities over at the beach club, and you are not a long walk away
Exactly.
by any means.
right? I think that's a good point. You know, when we talk about having to go to the beach club for this stuff, it's not like you have to take 3 buses
No.
and a short plane
Right.
ride.
Not
See,
at
and
all.
that's kind of my thought on why I rated the beach club so high, because I see both of these resorts as sharing the same amenities and pools and recreation. My walk from the beach club, even though I don't like Cape May, I don't go there for Cape May, I still know I'm a short walk to Yachtsman. So I see both of these sharing their amenities and pools and recreation.
Yeah,
It's just they just
all
blend
right
in
there.
to me.
They're all right there, but there is still a very, definite distinction. I mean, look at it. The Yachtsman's Steakhouse at the Yacht Club in comparison to Beaches and Cream. It's oranges and apples.
Right.
But it's all there. And
Yeah.
that is one of the pros of either of those resorts is you're not too far, and it's easy to go back and forth between the two.
All right. Let's go ahead and give it a grade. Will, what do you say? We'll start with you, since you're being so quiet.
Giving it a 7.
A 7. Interesting.
7. Yep. I liked it. It was clean. It was classy. Not quite grand classy, but had a good feel. And you can't beat the location. So going with a 7.
So what would it need to change or do to get the other 3 points?
That's a good question. I didn't eat at the Yacht Club. I went
Smoking
over to
rooms.
the ESPN Club, so I didn't get to try any dinners there. What'd you say, Corey?
Smoking rooms.
That would be a plus.
That would be worth 2 points, yeah.
So I didn't try out any of the bars or the restaurants at the Yacht Club. So that that may sway or add some points if there was a nice bar there. But the location's great. I mean, when you have theming like Wilderness Lodge versus Yacht Club, there's just no real comparison for me. I'm going to choose something like that any day over the Yacht Club.
Okay. Dustin, how about you?
Well, based on what you guys were just talking about it, and I kind of brought this up in the beach club portion, is they're sharing their amenities. You guys see it as a plus, and I can see it as a plus in many ways as well. But I also see it as a negative. I see it as a negative that these hotels can't necessarily stand on their own. So if we were giving a grade to both of them combined as one mega resort, I'd give it an 8 or a 9. But without that, the Yacht Club gets a 6 or a 7 for me. Probably closer to a 7 because I do like it quite a bit. But yeah, it's a 7 for me.
Okay. Jenny Lynn.
I'm going with 7 for a lot of the reasons that Will said. I mean, the theming does really appeal to me. It's comfortable. It's clean. I enjoy that it's a little bit more quiet, but at the same time, it doesn't have the wow factor as a lot of the other resorts have, such as Wilderness or Animal Kingdom Lodge, Grand Floridian. So, but the location, it's hard to beat. You're just right there within walking distance to Epcot. The boardwalk, which is sort of an entertainment, venue on its own in the evenings, boat ride away from Hollywood Studios. So, for those reasons, it can't really be, you're not going to overlook it. It's still a great resort. So I think a solid 7.
Okay. Craig.
I mean, I am going to be in the minority, but I'm giving it an 8.5. It's just a relaxing place to me. It's one of the only places that I can actually relax on Disney property, except for Wilderness Lodge, Animal Kingdom Lodge, Contemporary, and then basically right after that, well, Fort Wilderness too. But then Yacht Club. I mean, I'm already listening to most of them, but it just has something about it that I can turn into a different person whenever I'm there because I know those places where you can escape there. And like I said, the aesthetics appeal to me. For me, I like to walk anywhere I can go. So I have Epcot really close to me. I have Hollywood Studios close to me. I have Boardwalk right there. It's just in that central location that I don't think can get beat. And I hate kids. So I might have them one day, but I hate them right
Can't wait
now.
for you to babysit.
We'll talk about that later, but I don't hate your kids. I just hate everyone else's. Sorry, people.
How about you, Corey?
It's mine. I knew it coming in. Mine's going to be an 8, and And the reason, like in contrast to what Dustin said, is that, I'm not looking at these if they can stand on their own. I do think that it is a plus of the almost, buy one, get one free, 2 for 1. And if you really want to expand it, I mean, it's 3 for 1. Or throw in Swan and Dolphin, it's 5 for 1. So just a location alone, for me, gives it high marks. When I compare the Beach Club to the Yacht Club, I'm looking at the room. That room, and I was looking at both photos here and there, side by side next to each other. And, I'm more of a beach person, but that's a personal preference for me. And then, a few notches down from the 9 I gave Beach Club is because of the lack of Kids Club stuff and kids, kids feeling warm. And also having to walk 1.5 miles to your room.
Yeah,
that was
rough.
big.
Yeah, but that's not always the case necessarily. It's just luck of the
for
draw.
me, when I stayed there, that's where we were. I'm like, really? Another corner? Another corner? Another
You felt
corner?
like you were
Where
going
am
through
I?
a labyrinth a little
Yeah,
bit.
it was. It was. Kathy.
I would give it 2 different marks. If I was a family, I would give it a 7. Just because if you've got little ones and you're trying to get them over to the beach club, that's a walk for them, like trying to get them over to the kids center. If I was an adult and it was my husband and I and we were there just to sort of relax and take in Disney, I'd give it an 8.
Yeah, I'm going with an 8 for me, and which I'm surprised because I really thought I was going to have something to, or a lot of things to complain about going into this. And I normally try and go in with an open mind, but I was so turned off by the last experience I had that I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to. So it really says something about the experience and the staff that I was kind of turned around on that. And again, this is a one-day snapshot, so really and truly, it really requires a full review in order to get the full picture, which may actually may come up. But I got to say, I was for all of our experiences on the 7 and 7. Those who watch this show for any length of time or listen to us, I have absolutely no hesitation going after these places when they don't live up to their standard. I'm really surprised that I'm going to go through all 7 of these resorts with really very little to criticize. And it's not because I wasn't looking. And I think that says a lot about where the resorts are right now. But I give it an 8. I give it an 8. So that is going to do it for this episode. We'll be back with you again tomorrow with our next episode of our 7 Resorts in 7 Days series, and we'll be talking about the boardwalk. So until then, thanks everybody for being with us, and we'll see you again next time with another edition of the Diz Unplugged. Take it easy and remember, stay out of the damn lakes.